All right, Mob, welcome back to the 4th and 31 podcast. It's your favorite time of the week. We have rivals on this Wednesday morning. We have Coach Bo, the man, the myth, the legend, and Brant Finebaum, the guy who would pull for Ohio State. Oh, no, he'd pull for the St. Paul Saints over the Ohio State. Forgot we had to rearrange that. All right, boys. And Mob, y'all know what the rules are. We got 5 questions. Each person will alternate answering them first. They each get 2 minutes while the other one's muted. After that 2 minutes is up, I will mute the one talking, and I will award points as I see fit, and we'll decide a winner. We'll see if we can get a three-peat tonight. Bo's got something to say, something about that, but let's get started. All right, question number 1, guys. And also hit that like and, let us know what you think on the YouTube videos. We'd like to hear your comments. All right, without further ado, let's get started. Question number 1. What college football head coach's seat is the hottest of all seats in 2026? And I mean one coach and one coach only. Brant, your time starts now.
So I decided to go kind of a different direction here because all the college football, there's a lot of hot seats. Okay, nobody's saying there's not. But I kind of went to a different direction. I decided to do hot seats for major college football. Like I think of Blue Bloods, I think of big teams. My answer is Kaelin DeBoer. And I don't think it's because he's on the hot seat because of his record. I think he's on the hot seat because of us Alabama fans. And I think that if he has another 9-4 season, I think that we kind of put the pressure on our AD and everything to kind of get rid of Kaelin. So I want to say Kaelin just because, which I personally believe Kaelin's the man for the job. I've said this in multiple shows. I think he's come in and handled the pressure pretty good, coming in after Nick Saban. He's challenged himself. He's adapted what he's needed to do. I mean, we've seen that in the recency with the portal moves he's made and getting better offensive line. And I did see today that Kane Womack put his house up for sale in Tuscaloosa. Don't know if that is anything that revolves around that. But anyway, so I'm going to say Kaelin DeBoer just for the sheer fact of like he feels that he has to win. If he has one slip up, if he has one loss, us Alabama fans are going to give him hell on the plane ride home and on the drive home and at his house. We're going to meet him there. So I think Kaelin DeBoer has got an immense amount of pressure on him, and I feel like his running game, if his running game does not increase, if the offensive efficiency does not look like it did this year, like it did weeks 2 through 8 of last year, I think that Alabama fans are going to have a lot of problems and something to say about Kaelin DeBoer. And I'm sure there's a lot of picks you could have. I just know I can't even say the outside looking in. From the inside looking in, I can tell you that last year there was a lot of disappointing things that happened. Not necessarily losing to Indiana, but getting steamrolled by Indiana 38-3 kind of didn't help. And then not only that, you go down 17-0 in a playoff game at Oklahoma. And granted, you managed to come back and win it, but it just feels like we should never be in those holes in the first place. So I think that Kaelin DeBoer's got a crazy amount of pressure on him this year, Chad.
Yeah, perfect timing. All right. I liked your point about especially the fans because I think we're one of the craziest fan bases in college football, no doubt. Sometimes we expect too much too soon. I know he was inherited a great program, but his philosophy is a lot different than Saban, and we're just going to have to kind of deal with it till he gets, his system in. It's a fair point. Feels like he has to win. No doubt. If he has another 9-4 season, they're going to have pitchforks and torches. It's going to look like Frankenstein in the old movies. And then the weak offense. That's a great point. The way that offense regressed last year was should be studied. There should be a 30 for 30 on that. So I'll give you 3 points for that. All right, Bo, your time starts now.
Okay, so I said for my most coach on the biggest hot seat is Mike Norville. And the reason is because in 2023, his Florida State Seminoles went 12-0. And then they decided to throw the temper tantrum of all temper tantrums. And then basically all the starters sat out and played Georgia in that bowl game. And that was one of the most embarrassing things I've ever seen in my life. All of Georgia's guys played. And then Florida State's guys sat out. And then I think Mike Norville and the Florida State staff realized we have nothing behind these starters. And then they panicked and they just went and spent a bunch of money and they bought all these players. And the last 2 years, they've gone 2-10 and 5-7, and they've gone a total of 3-13 in the conference. Ironically, in 2024, their only win against a Division I opponent was against the Cal Bears, whose quarterback was Fernando Mendoza. Side note. The crazy part to me is in 2025, Florida State had the number 6 offense, number 28 defense, and they were number 38 in the Vegas Power Poll. So apparently they had some talent and were able to do some good things. I mean, their defense held opponents to 22 points a game. Their offense averaged 471 yards a game, and yet they still couldn't even qualify for a bowl. It's crazy to me because his buyout $60 million, which is probably the only reason that he's still even there. But I promise you, if they have another losing season this year, the noise from the fans will be so much they'll eventually have to get rid of him. Florida State is running on about a $500 million deficit, a little more, and about 430 or 440 of it is on revamping athletic facilities, most notably Doak Campbell Stadium and football facilities. Then you look at also the fact that they signed the number 14 recruiting.
Nope, we'll have to find out about that recruiting class later. All right, a lot of good points. I think Bo brought it this week. He got pissed. He lost 2 weeks in a row. I like Norville versus pretty much. They did quit versus Georgia. Everybody left. That's a good point. The record after that 12-0 start, 7-17, 3-13 in the conference. You know, you brought up that they were ranked extremely high and then kind of fell on their face. I mean, I like, that you brought in their his $60 million buyout. So that was, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Man, we got some work to do today, bud. All right. So 5-3 at the end of one. All right. Second one. We'll start this time. And this is a long question, so this may take up half the show on this question. All right. In 2026, the sport may truly revolve around Lane Kiffin. He is back at a blue blood program with one of the most expensive rosters in college football, maybe the most expensive after portal binge shopping that would make any credit card company blush. 51 new Tigers are scheduled to be on campus this spring. It's not a total reset with several key pieces like Whit Weeks and Trades Green returning. With this roster transformation that Kiffin will have to manage with playoff expectations hanging over every move he makes, does LSU make the playoffs in year one? All right, Bo, your time starts now.
Yes, the LSU Tigers will make the playoff, and here's why. It's not just about how much money you spend, it's how effectively and wisely you spend that money. And he did a great job of bringing not only in top talent, but retaining top talent as at LSU, such as guys like Trades Green. He'll be one of the top receivers in the country. Then he brought in Eugene Wilson. This is I am on record, the best receiving core he has ever had as a head coach. So you put that with the fact he got the number 1 quarterback in the portal, Sam Levitt. Offensively, they should be incredibly explosive. But not only did they get a bunch of top-end talent, they also went to the lower ranks and got some kind of developmental guys. He's done that before. He got a guy named Trinidad Chambliss we're all familiar with. And between him and Charlie Weiss and the staff that he's bringing with him, they know how to evaluate talent and put a team together. They finished number 11 in recruiting. They had the number one portal class. Their schedule sets up pretty nice. Their hardest games, Bama, Texas, and Texas A&M, they're all at home. So that's a big plus. And then their toughest road games are at Ole Miss, at Auburn, at Tennessee. Now, those are not easy venues to play at, but I give them the edge not only at quarterback, but with the overall roster. And I'll take my chances with Lane Kiffin because remember, you can still lose too. So even if they win all their home games, they take care of business, they lose 2 out of those 3, they're going to be in the playoff. And I firmly believe, especially with Lane Kiffin, his name is always in the news. He's a lightning rod, and Lane Kiffin is ratings. There's no way a 10-win LSU team is going to get left out, period. And I think this LSU team, not only that, but Lane has learned over the years how to manage a team better, put together a roster, run the football, play defense.
Whoops, your time's up. There's some great points. I love the effective spending with the added talent. I love the fact that you brought up their portal class and their recruiting class, the schedule, and that he's a lightning rod. So that's 5 on that one. You brought it today, my friend. All right, Brant, show them how it's done. Your time starts now.
Well, I think if you're considering headlines a good thing, Bo, I think we need to reevaluate some things because it's not necessarily always good to be in headlines, especially when we know Lane Kiffin so well. He's definitely a lightning rod is a great term because lightning strikes twice. So I think it's pretty dangerous to consider him an easygoing guy. But I agree. LSU makes playoffs around year one. I mean, all their tough games, like Bo said, are at home. I mean, to be honest with you, as a Bama fan, I don't know if we walk into Death Valley, and it's going to be a night game. So I don't know if we walk into Death Valley at night and beat LSU this year, especially with all the added people to the roster, especially with all the added people to the coaching tree he has now. And I mean, him and Charlie Weiss together, the offense is going to be fine. Now, I will say this about LSU. I have a question mark at quarterback. And then I know Sam Levitt was the number 1 ranked guy in the portal. I get that. I know we had a great year at Arizona State 2 years ago. Let's not forget last year, and I said the same thing about Josh Hoover. Let's not forget what Sam Levitt was last year. He was pretty inconsistent and injury prone. So, I mean, I don't know. He just walks into Death Valley and is the best quarterback in the SEC. I don't think that's a possibility. I mean, obviously LSU is going to be good. You don't have to be the best quarterback in the SEC to step into LSU talent and throw the ball around. I mean, that we know that. But I'm not on this whole Sam Levitt train that everybody's on. And I mean, he's good, but I'm not backing up Sam Levitt like I'm backing up Gunnar Stockton. I'm not backing up Sam Levitt like I'm backing up Trinidad Chambliss. So, I mean, it's like he's going to have to go through some SEC tough competition before I can believe that they're just going to walk into all these stadiums and take a dub now because they got Lane Kiffin and Charlie Weiss on their side. I just don't believe that. I think there's going to be a lot of difficulty like there was year one with Lane Kiffin, years 1 through 3, Lane Kiffin when he was at Ole Miss. He had a little bit of trouble in road games. His offenses were rather inconsistent, and he went and lost to a bunch of teams that he should have beat. I mean, it's just, obviously LSU's a different animal, but it's still a possibility that could happen. So I think that they're going to walk into the playoffs untouched, I disagree with. But I do agree that LSU will make play.
All right. That's some good points. I like headlines aren't always good. That's true. That's a great point. You agreed with the schedule, that they're scheduling the way they have it. And I also like that you kind of addended that with, comparing, the quarterback he had at Ole Miss, Chambliss, with the one he's got now. And I think that is a big difference. That's a great point you did on that. I like the fact that you did bring up the question mark at quarterback. And I also like the fact that you brought up he struggled a little bit at Ole Miss years 1 through 3. That's 5 good points on there. So good job, Brant, on that one. All right, let's move on to question number 3. Most sports books rank Georgia with the 6th best odds, plus 1,000 to plus 1,100 to win the title, behind favorites like Ohio State, Notre Dame, and Indiana. I want your thoughts on that. Brant, you get to go first, and your time starts now.
I think to put Kirby 6th place in anything is crazy. Whether it's odds to win a national championship, whether it's, odds to win a coaching award, whether it's odds to wake up in the morning. I'm never going against Kirby Smart. I think number 6 is crazy. And I think Vegas, if you're smart, you will fluctuate based off how Kirby Smart does in the regular season. Because putting him 6 behind Kurt Signetti, maybe because he has the opportunity to go back-to-back, and maybe because he's turned the Indiana around. But, I mean, Notre Dame and Ohio State, maybe, you got to agree with Notre Dame because they got the easiest schedule in college football history, and they're going to play 2 tough games and nail both those teams and then never play another one. So, maybe, but I think Kirby Smart and Georgia are too resilient. We said this all last year. Georgia plays like they don't read headlines. Georgia plays like they want to play football. They can give a damn about what anybody has to say about them, especially Paul Finebaum, who goes on ESPN every other Saturday and talks about how great Tennessee is. Okay, you can't do that with Georgia and Kirby because they don't care. They're not watching it. All they're going to do, they're going to walk into your stadium on Saturday, whether you're number 1 Alabama or whether you're number 120 Tulane. They're going to come in there and they're going to spank that ass and walk out. Okay, and that's how Kirby Smart plays football. that's how Kirby Smart coaches football, and that's why Kirby Smart is as prominent as a coach he is. He got it from Saban. He realizes what you have to do to coach a team, and with the amount of talent that Georgia has and the amount of convicts. So, I mean, he has to be able to, kind of wheel it out to figure out what he wants to do. So, I mean, I don't agree with that at all. I think Georgia's a damn good football program. I think Kirby Smart's a damn good coach. And I think for them to be sixth place is crazy. I mean, it's Georgia we're talking about. They're going to be there. I mean, Georgia's not missing the playoff. So I think the fact that you're going to just rule them out to 6 out of the top 5 is crazy. Because I'll tell you, whoever wins the national championship, Georgia's going to have something to say about it. Okay, and that's not an easy team.
Yeah, you're done. Yeah. Was that curse word too? Okay. All right. Hey, I like this. Look at 6 is crazy. I agree with you. It's how can you put a team who's been so good, for so long under Smart at 6? To me, that's nuts. I gave you a point for that. I agree with you behind Cignetti. Isn't that crazy? And I love the fact you brought up the fact Notre Dame's just cupcake of a schedule that they have. I mean, hell, I wish Alabama played that schedule. We'd go 12-0, another hypothetical national championship for our Alabama Crimson Tide. All right. And I'm going to give you a point for just using the word "spank that ass" because that was a great line. And I'm also going to say that Georgia plays like they don't care. They don't. They just show up, win, and leave most of the time. Now they have their games like everybody does. So that's 5 for that one. That was a great one. All right, Bo. Your time starts now.
One of the things I look at when I look at college football is longevity. And I know Curt Cignetti is the flavor of the week because he won the national championship this year, and he's had 2 good seasons at Indiana. Kirby's been doing this a lot longer. I mean, Kirby's been in a prominent spot like this and been coaching high-level football as a head coach for a lot longer. And the fact that there are 5 coaches that are in front of his Georgia Bulldogs that are picked to win the national championship over him, I would take him over any of the other 5. Because when I look at all those coaches, those 5 in front of them, those 5 combined have as many national titles as Kirby has. So I'll take my chances with Kirby. I'll roll the dice with Kirby any day of the week. 11-1 is insane. 11-1 is insane. We're talking about a team the last couple of years, their odds have been to win the national championship. We're talking anywhere from 2 to 6-1. And now it's doubled. And Georgia's going to be loaded on defense. I was looking at their preseason defensive unit, and they're probably going to have 4 first-round picks on this defense. Okay. So, and I would also like to point out the fact that Ryan Day and the Ohio State Buckeyes are ahead of him. And I saw the other day where 5 Ohio State Buckeyes are projected to go in the top 10, and they couldn't even win a damn playoff game. So give me a break on that. I'll take Kirby any day of the week. I know one of the things that he does have to do, though, and he's going to this is going to be a question. He's going to have to look in the mirror and answer this question. Can we win a first-round playoff game? Because he's 0-2, guys. Now, to me, that doesn't diminish Kirby, but at the same time, he needs to get at least a win, maybe 2 this year, to really kind of get that mojo back with the Georgia
Bulldogs. Yep, I know exactly what you were going to say. All right, I gave you a point for using flavor of the week. That's a good one. I really like that. I also like that you said they've got a loaded D. That's great. Oh, man, the hits just keep on coming. No pun intended. All right. And I like the fact that you brought up Kirby's been doing this longer than Cignetti, which, I mean, is a great point. OSU, the point, and this is what I saw. I saw this on Facebook, and I'm glad you brought this up. Ohio State, with all these guys doing all this great stuff in the damn combine, and they can't do nothing with it last year. You want to talk about undercoaching a team right there? That's the definition of it. Now, I don't care that you won it last year. That was last year's team. The fact that you have that many going to the combine, you're supposed to have 5 of the top 10. Hey, you should be ashamed of yourself on that. That's a piss poor coaching job. All right. And I love the fact that you brought up that the 5 coaches in front of them has as many national championships as Georgia does. So this has gotten extremely good. 5 there. So let's just recap the score right here. After 3 innings, Bo leads by 2, 15-13. All right, Bo, you'll get to go first on this one. And this is the question I did, and I like this question because I've thought about this a lot since we went to 16, and we may go to 20 or 50 or however many they want to put in the damn SEC. If you could realign the SEC, who would you add and subtract and why? Bo? Your time starts now.
My first thought was Georgia Tech because they were a charter member of the Southeastern Conference. Then I thought about it. I was like, no, we've already got one smart school. We don't need another smart school. We need a dog. I mean, we need a dog. We need somebody that can go out and fetch more national championships to add to the 48 national championships that the 3 men's major sports teams in the SEC have won in the 47 years that I've been alive. That's right. Football, baseball, basketball in the SEC have won 48 national championships. And I found the perfect school. It is a sleeping giant waiting to be unleashed. And more importantly, does not have representation in this state. And that is the North Carolina Tar Heels. Let's see. I wrote down a few facts here. They have 3 excellent sports. They brought in almost $175 million in revenue in the ACC. Imagine what they could do with an SEC budget and SEC money coming in. Also, the basketball team has been to 21 Final Fours, has won 6 national championships. The baseball program has won 9 ACC titles. They've been to the College World Series 12 times. They've been to the Super Regionals, been to regionals 38 times, and they have won. I don't think they've won a national championship, but they have They have 3 winning programs on that campus. Now, football, it doesn't look like that right now because Bill Belichick kind of looks like a disaster. He's got a lot of off the field distractions. And I think everybody knows what I'm talking about. A certain brunette that usually is standing on the sideline waiting for him, side-eyeing him constantly. But I think North Carolina would be a perfect fit right there. You got South Carolina, North Carolina. The high school recruiting in North Carolina is excellent. They have very good.
Very good. Yes. I don't know what they have very good. We'll just have to. Oh, okay. I mean, you're muted. You can keep talking if you want. All right. I love the fact that you were teasing us with Georgia Tech and they said we didn't need any more smart schools, but it would, raise our league GPA. You brought up the 48 national championships that the SEC has, which is more than most conferences combined. And then the fact that you brought up their revenue in the ACC and, just kind of their accolades in each sport. So I gave you 4 on that one. Brantster, your time starts now.
So to Bo's point, look, Bo, this is the SEC. We don't care about smart schools, okay? Get Vanderbilt the hell out, all right? I don't want Vanderbilt in here either. I damn sure don't want Georgia Tech, okay? Look, this is the SEC. We bring in giants. We bring in the money, okay? Give me Miami. Give me the U. I want the U in the SEC. Look, for all those Alabama fans that were obviously alive before I was, I'm just saying a rivalry game every season, Miami and Alabama would sell some tickets, okay? That's all I'm saying. I'll tell you what, I'll do you one better. Let's bring in Notre Dame. Let's make them play a schedule, huh? Let's make them play an SEC schedule. Look, if Notre Dame wants to be big and bad, bring them to the SEC. We'll let them play in the SEC. We'll see what happens. Now, Bo, let me tell you what you didn't do. You didn't get rid of anybody, okay? Getting rid of Vanderbilt, okay? I don't want Vanderbilt. I'll be honest, I don't want Missouri. I get rid of Missouri. I don't need them either. Give me Miami. Give me Florida State for the culture. We'll take out all Florida. We'll make the whole Florida State SEC. And that you want to talk about Florida State, Florida, Miami, Florida State, Miami. I mean, those are some damn good games. I think you clear out Florida, and then if you really feel like you need to go grab another one, dude, go grab the Palmetto series, man. Go get Clemson. Put Clemson in the SEC. I mean, dude, that is a banger season right there. I mean, I'm in. I'm living. Let's do it. I'm all for it. But I think until you get rid of some teams that we don't really care for anymore, nobody cares about GPA. We care about dollar signs, baby. Get Vanderbilt out. I don't care for Vanderbilt anymore. They're gone. We don't need GPA anymore. And they're not even good at basketball anymore. Well, they're okay this year, but they're not even good at basketball anymore. I mean, like, come on, guys. You're missing the whole point here, okay? What do you look at him like that for? Vanderbilt is okay. They're not as good as they used to be. No way, okay? Let's go ahead and get that done. If you want to take another one, get rid of Kentucky.
Nope, sorry. All right, okay. So this is interesting. I love that you actually kicked 2 teams out. I'm going to give you a point for that because we keep adding. We're like it's almost like the SEC Hoarders Conference. We're going to keep adding and not get anybody out because we want all the money, which is great. But I love the fact that you're just like, we don't care about GPA. You remind me of that guy from Miami. I forgot who it was. He was a linebacker, came in. He's like, I don't come here to play no school. I love it. Okay, point for that. I love the fact you brought up Notre Dame. Get them a real schedule instead of that cupcake schedule they've been playing the last couple of years. Yeah, we said it, Irish fans. 2, I love the fact that you want to bring in Miami for the and FSU for the Florida series. I mean, you would have a monopoly on the South. Vanderbilt out, and that you kicked out Missouri, add Clemson for the Palmetto. I think that's 5. Is that 5? So, Brant, you have cut the lead. The lead now is 18-19. So, Brant has come back. That was a good round for Brant. All right. Last question, boys. Which non-SEC coach are you most excited about and why? Brant, your time is now.
Okay, so this is honestly where then calm down a little bit. This is where I kind of it gets a little tough. There's a lot of little coaches. There's a lot of coaches I'm excited about, especially new ones, not in the SEC. But I was talking to Scott about this today, or as we know him as the producer. Was talking about this with Scott today, and I was really thinking, man, and I can't get over the whole Jedd Fisch move. You know, I'm really big on Jedd Fisch at Washington. And I felt like he's actually done, I know his first year he came in, Washington wasn't the best, but I mean, they had a decent season last year and they're obviously trajectorying, to better for this upcoming year. I think the way that we talk about how Kaelin DeBoer has handled, Nick Saban leaving, guys, Washington hasn't seen the utmost best coaches of all time. Okay. And I mean, and they lost Kaelin DeBoer to Alabama. And I feel like Jedd Fisch has really come in and kind of maintained what Kaelin DeBoer left behind. Not to say that he's as good as Kaelin DeBoer, but I mean, I definitely think he's come in and done as best as a lot of people could have. I mean, unless you're Kurt Signetti and you just come in and win a national championship in year 2. But I mean, I think Jedd Fisch he's a good, solid defensive minded guy. And obviously, which is pretty difficult to go from, Pac-12 football to Big Ten football and have to learn how to play a little defense. But I feel like he's done a good job maintaining it. I feel like his offenses are pretty self-sound and they still can play the game really well. They can still run the football, something Alabama can't do. So, I mean, they're already one step better than us in that. It's just, I think the whole aspect of Jedd Fisch coming in and taking over a program that had really done well, but then all of a sudden just got doused, when their coach goes and leaves to go to one of the biggest programs in the country. I think he's really done well in maintaining it and still continuing to find himself wins. And Bo, I know you're referencing money wise. I don't think Washington had lost. I think Washington made money with their athletic programs, but this over the couple of years. And I'm sure obviously it wasn't football, but I mean, I think Jedd Fisch is a good coach to watch out for in the Big Ten. And I mean, obviously, hopefully everything gets back to normal and Washington goes back to the Pac-12, he can still tear it up there if he's still there.
All right. I thought that was an interesting one. I gave you just for bringing up Jedd Fisch in Washington. Like the fact that you brought they've kind of maintained, going to a new conference. That's kind of tough, especially when your road games are, 2 time zones away every other weekend. Defensive minded and run the ball better in Bama. So I gave you 4 on that. That gives you a total of 22. Bo, you've got 19. All right, let's unmute you, sir. Your time starts now.
Oh, a coach that I'm really excited about this year is Matt Campbell going from Iowa State to Penn State. I really believe that he is one of the better coaches in the country. I mean, he took a program at Iowa State that was just in the doldrums, historically one of the worst programs in the country, and turned them into a very respectable, competitive program. Even had them playing in the conference championship. I also think that he is a great fit at Penn State. He wants to run the football. He wants to play rock solid defense. You will see his handprint all over that football program in year one. They will be tough. They will be a tough-minded team. They will be very good at the line of scrimmage. I mean, we always know Penn State's history of being able to play at the line of scrimmage, run the football, stop the run, rush the passer. But also this year, they're going to have a much better, I think, more consistent quarterback play from Rocco Beck. And I also think that he is just one of the really good guys in the country. I mean, he's just a good, wholesome, down to earth. I mean, he's just a good, wholesome, good guy, good football coach. He wants to get somewhere and stay. He's not looking for the next best thing. He wants to get somewhere. He wants his kids to be in school. He wants to create a nice life for his family. And that's always the persona that I've gotten from him. It's not always about him and the next best thing. It's about him and what's best for him and the people around him in his so-called his family bubble. And I just think that he will do a lot of great things at Penn State, and Penn State will win a natty under his leadership. And I'm not saying it's going to be in year one, although I do like their schedule in year one.
All right. That's it. I'm glad you brought that up. You was running close there. All right. So Matt Campbell turned around Iowa State. Good point there. Likes to run the football and play defense. Something that we all like, something that we all grew up on. The fact that you brought up the quarterback play this year, and then what puts you over the top was you brought up the schedule. I was waiting. We almost had a tie, but you brought up the schedule. So with that, that's 4, 23, 24. 23, 22. Man, that was a great comeback though, dude. You kind of got yourself behind the 8 ball on the first one, but you brought it the next 4. So, Bo, with that being said, you top a 2-game skid. What you got for us?
First off, I just wanted to point out to all the listeners that I was cheated last week. Chad here took points away from me because my connection went out but came right back. Brant had to log off and log back on. There were no points taken from him. So I was sabotaged last week, but that's okay. I'll rise above it. We grind, we work here. We don't complain. We don't worry about the result. We just worry about how we can fix it. So we just work all week and we work to get better, because we know when we come on this show, we got to have everything in order, because that's what we do on this show. Brant, if you ever mention Notre Dame coming to the SEC again, I can't even stomach that. I don't want to see that ever. And a matter of fact, since we're on the taking, I honestly did make a mistake. I wanted to take Missouri out and put North Carolina in, and I forgot to take Missouri out. But see, my stance on that, I stayed with the 10 that were there that Chad and I grew up watching. I didn't want to remove any of them. And then I thought North Carolina was a great fit. But I'll tell you this: if the SEC could do what you did, if they could get North Carolina, once the ACC implodes, if the SEC could go get Miami, Florida State, North Carolina, and Clemson, which is a very real possibility, and go to a 20-team super conference, why not? I mean, the Big Ten's got 18 teams. Why not? I think the ACC's got 18 right now.
I mean,
why not? I mean, go get all 4 of them. Those would be the best 4 all-around programs. And I think they could bring a lot of value to the conference. But there again, at the same time, what we bitch about all the time about, the difference between the top and the bottom, I don't know you would have that. I think you would bring in 4 teams that could really compete. They're not just going to be at the bottom just getting their bell rung every week. But really, that's really all I got to say. No, I don't think really a whole lot this week, but just thank everybody for watching, and we really appreciate it. And just keep talking the good football talk, man.
Yeah, before we get to the final, I'm going to let Brant just respond to this controversy that Bo's, I call it like Bo's bitching hour now. So what do you got, Finebaum?
Look, all I'm saying is if everybody wants to complain about Notre Dame's schedule and how Notre Dame plays the game of football against cupcakes, bring them to
Well, they
the
do.
SEC. We'll bring them to the SEC and we'll let them prove it. Look, if you come to the SEC and win, you proved it. You got it. You're there. Okay. I mean, Georgia does it every year because they run the gauntlet. So, I mean, if Notre Dame really wants to prove to the country, hey, we deserve to be at the top all the time because we're Notre Dame and, we wear gold helmets and we have a good coach. Come to the conference that you can prove it in. I mean, that's all I'm saying. I mean, I'm not saying they need to be like some kind of permanent 300-year member. I'm just saying, let's do a 5-year deal where Notre Dame's in the SEC for 5 years. They play 5 SEC schedules, and let's go back and look at the end of the 5 years, how they did each year, their record through all of it, and then we'll decide. If we'll decide if we want to make y'all a permanent member or not. Okay, that's what we'll do.
I like that, kind of an audition.
Yeah. Now, I will say, I have a comment on the Matt Campbell thing. Okay. I just don't understand the Matt Campbell hype. And look, I know this is something we usually say for after the show when we're just all BSing. Okay, but I just don't get it. I mean, yeah, Iowa State was decent. He turned Iowa State around. Absolutely. I won't deny that. But he didn't win anything. Did he? If I'm wrong, did he win anything? Like, did he win a Big 12 championship?
He played.
I know he played for one, but you got to understand, pre being able to buy players, that's not exactly a hotbed of a destination to go play. Not only that, they have zero recruiting base. They have no recruiting base. The best player in Iowa football history played left tackle in high school. Played left tackle for the Alabama Crimson Tide the last 3 years.
It wasn't Seneca Wallace.
But see, that's just like kind of my thing. Is like, why should I be? I mean, I'm thinking of like I'm a Penn State fan. Like, why should I be so absolutely, excited for a guy who I felt like what obviously wasn't dealt the best cards? I completely understand that. I completely agree with you on that. Iowa State is definitely not, Hawaii. It is not a recruiting destination. But I'm just saying, if you're a Penn State, I'm allowing you to do this. This is more like I'm asking you to, for our Penn State people that watch. I mean, why does Penn State need to be excited for Matt Campbell? I mean, genuinely.
I'll say this. If a guy is at Iowa State or any like mid-tier, let's say Power 5, because that's what they were at the time, and he can do what he did there. And I mean, just think what he could do with an actual recruiting base, with an actual, prestigious program. I mean, because Penn State's still a Elite 8 school to some people. I mean, Penn State's still a name. Iowa State's not. And what he was able to do, compete. He was competing, with Texas, Oklahoma, when it was actually a good Big 12 conference. So, I mean, I'll say that. I mean, Bo, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, also too, like one thing I like about Penn State, they have 3 major recruiting hubs in that state, and they have nobody to recruit against. I mean, you recruiting against Pat Narduzzi and Pitt. I mean, come on, you're going to get 95%. You might miss a guy or two, but your top 10 recruits in the state, you're probably going to at least get 7 or 8 of them, at least, maybe more. But high school football is good in Pennsylvania. Not only that, if you just take that whole northeast part of the country, there's some good prep schools up there, and he should be able to recruit those guys. I think, moreover, I think than anything, I think he is a good developer. And I think that especially with the 105 scholarships now, you have to go get lower tier players and put them on scholarship, and then try to develop those guys in a competitive way. Create competition, throughout the course of the year, and then be able to go out and buy. Let's just face it, buy a few top tier guys and then mesh those together. And if he can do that at Penn State, which I know he can. I mean, we saw them playing the national championship game 2 years ago. Now, I'm not going to get into, or they got to the semifinals. Now, they might have had the easiest path ever to get there. They played 2 G5 schools. I mean, face it, SMU and Boise, but they still went in there and handled business and had Notre Dame beat until they shat all over themselves. you could see it all over Franklin's face. That last 7 minutes. I mean, watching that game, I was like, Penn State's clearly the better team, I thought. And then you watch that game and you're watching James Franklin on the sideline. I was like, they're about to blow it. Because he was you could just see it on his face. He didn't know how to handle the moment. And I don't think Matt Campbell's going to have a problem with that. I just think he's such an even keel guy. And I just think he's just going to bring that toughness. I mean, he's a good fit. What he likes to do, run the ball downhill, run it with power. But we'll see. I mean, they're also too kind of what you're saying, Brant. And I'll kind of back up what you're saying on this too. That it took them forever to finally hire a coach. I mean, they had the longest coaching search, and you're going, who are they going to get at this point? And it almost appears as though they just said, okay, we'll settle on Matt Campbell. There's nobody. Who else can we go get? So only time will tell.
Yep. All right. Well, that'll do it for this edition of Rivals. Again, hit that like. Let us know in the comments anything we missed. I'm sure there's a good bit what we've missed, considering each answer's 2 minutes. But let us know. For Coach Bo and Brant Finebaum, I'm me, Chad, saying we'll see you next time.